We live in interesting times. Today's stories. U.S. sanctions overwhelm Venezuelans. Sudan army rulers admit dispersing a sit-in. Canadians react to a proposed ban on single-use plastics. Canada's foreign minister speaks out on the country's deteriorating ties with China. Filipinos show off their culture at the Filipino Heritage Month celebration in Banff. The Church of Christ holds a series of outreach missions across Canada. The Canadian Elite Basketball League kicks off its inaugural season. And comic fans dress up at the Calgary Expo. This is Eagle News, broadcasting from our Calgary studio in Canada, bringing you stories from around the globe. I am Cara Cabusao. Venezuelans are feeling the effects of sanctions imposed by the U.S. government. Those moves have resulted in decrease in retail sales, a shortage of gasoline, and a lack of medical treatment for sick children. Manuel Saavedra, a seller at a video game store, doesn't think much of the sanctions.
Es que supuestamente esas sanciones son como quien dice que para asfixiar el régimen en el que estamos ahorita y no han servido de nada.
Saavedra says ordinary people are being hurt by the American move.
Porque el ciudadano a pie es el que más se afecta, ¿me entiendes? Porque como no hay tanto el movimiento, el ciudadano queda como quien dice, solamente compra lo que necesita y lo que puede, porque ahora ni siquiera antes lo que necesita, sino lo que puede y ya.
Those thoughts are echoed by LEIDA Castillo, who is retired.
Y por supuesto toda sanción tiene que afectar, pero hay sanciones.
For the first time, Sudan's ruling military council has admitted it ordered the military to break up the June 3rd protest sit-in Khartoum. That action left dozens dead and hundreds of people wounded. Military Council spokesman SHAMSEDDINE KABBASHI says the action was not a spur-of-moment decision.
ثم وجهنا القيادات العسكرية بالتخطيط لفض هذا الاعتصام وفق الإجراءات العسكرية والأمنية المعروفة.
KABBASHI admitted things may have gone too far when soldiers broke up the protest.
نحن نجدد أسفنا لما حدث. هنالك انحرافات في خطة القيادات العسكرية اللي وضعتها، وكانت هنالك تجاوزات وحدث ما حدث فيما يتعلق بفض الاعتصام.
KABBASHI says further protest camps near armed forces sites will not be allowed. He says the findings of an investigation into the events of June 3rd will be released on a later date. There's disagreement over the death tolls from the military action. Doctors linked to the protest movement claim 120 people have been killed since June 3rd, while the health ministry puts the number for that day at 61. Thousands of protesters began the round-the-clock sit-in April 6th, initially seeking the army's help to oust longtime ruler Omar al-Bashir. The army toppled Bashir on April 11th. But since then, the ruling generals have resisted calls to hand over power to a civil administration. Demonstrators continued the sit-in even as they held negotiations with the generals over the form of a new governing body. The talks collapsed in May when they couldn't agree on whether the body should have a civilian or military head. The bloody crackdown followed. The two sides have now agreed to resume talks following mediation by Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. But protest leaders have insisted on certain conditions, including removing an internet blockade imposed since the crackdown. KABBASHI welcomes the Ethiopian mediation, but says the internet sanctions will continue because they believe social media is a threat to national security. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's call to ban single-use plastics by 2021 doesn't seem to be getting a lot of opposition in Toronto. Many say they support the move, believing the use of plastic is not necessary.
Well, if you see any pictures on the news or online of oceans of plastic and animals that are getting killed by eating it, whales, turtles, etc., I think it's stupid to have a straw for 5 minutes for a latte or whatever, and then it goes in the ocean. I mean, come on, give me a break. It's just not necessary.
It will affect people maybe because they don't have the things, but we need to learn. If it is banned, we are going to learn. People need to learn that the environment is important for everyone, for us, for our children, for future generations.
I think honestly that the plastic has to be canceled out completely in some way, shape, or form. I mean, obviously, I know that it's going to be a difficult thing to do. We use it so much or whatever, but yeah, I think the less of it, the better.
Canadian Foreign Minister CHRYSTIA Freeland says Canada will not stop extradition proceedings for Huawei Chief Financial Officer Meng Wanzhou. Wanzhou is in Vancouver on bail awaiting extradition to the U.S., where she faces charges. Freeland told reporters at the Canadian Embassy in Washington, D.C., it would for Canada to drop the extradition proceedings.
That it would be a very dangerous precedent indeed for Canada to alter its behavior when it comes to honoring an extradition treaty in response to external pressure.
Freeland says all of Canada's actions to date have been above board.
When it comes to Ms. Meng, there has been no political interference. This has been entirely about officials taking decisions according to Canada's commitments, and that is the right way for extradition requests to proceed.
The minister adds Wanzhou will have her day in court.
Ms. Meng and her lawyers will have a chance to make their case, and I have complete confidence that the courts will make a right and fair decision.
But while Wanzhou is free on bail waiting for her court date, Freeland is concerned about the fate of 2 Canadians in China. She condemns their detention by Chinese authorities.
These arbitrary detentions of Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor are a grave concern to Canada, and that has made our relations with China today difficult. Having said that, this is a relationship which is deep. It is a relationship of long standing. It is a relationship on many different levels.
On another matter, Freeland says the government of Canada is ready to ratify a new North American trade deal.
Our government, and for American colleagues, let me remind you, we have a majority in Parliament, has a clear and very confident intention to move ahead with NAFTA ratification. This is a good deal for Canada, and we will get it done. We will get it ratified. Our intention, insofar as possible, is to move in tandem with the U.S. legislative process.
Up next, Filipinos show off their culture at the Filipino Heritage Month celebration in Banff. The Church of Christ holds a series of outreach missions across Canada. The Canadian Elite Basketball League kicks off its inaugural season. This and more when Eagle News Canada returns. We will be right back. Welcome back. You are watching Eagle News Canada. Filipinos in Canada hold a month-long celebration every June to celebrate Philippine heritage. Here's Gianna Mariano with the details.
Filipino Heritage Month is a month-long celebration that takes place every June here in Canada. It showcases Filipino culture like songs and dance numbers. Here in Banff, a resort town in the province of Alberta, many Filipinos took part of the Filipino Heritage Month celebration. June Kakayuran, president of the Filipino-Canadian Association in the Rockies, explained to us the importance of this event.
Filipino Heritage Month ay parang pagbabalik tanaw sa mga tradisyon natin at kultura sa Pilipinas na dapat na ipakita rin dito sa Canada kasi marami na mga Pilipinong nasa henerasyon na hindi na nila alam yung mga kulturang na nangyayari sa Pilipinas. May kasabihan nga tayo that you cannot understand the present culture in Canada if you will not understand your own culture.
Also, Marietta Pangan from Jarrio, Alberta shares with us what to expect in this event.
Unang-una po nagpapasalamat po tayo sa government of Alberta and the federal government for actually recognizing the Filipino Canadian contributions dito po sa ating bansa. There are more than 890,000 Filipino Canadians all over Canada and there's at least 189,000 here in Alberta. So recognizing us to celebrate our culture, our food, our people, and our heritage for the long month of June is something to be very proud of. Three things po, dun po sa ating mga naunang henerasyon is for them to bring back the great memories. Kami naman po sa ating pong mga ngayong henerasyon, we would like to be the bridge to continue perpetuate the heritage and the culture. Doon naman po sa mga kabataan, it's for them to realize where they came from. Bakit yung adobo laging at kanin laging isinasaing sa bahay at lagi kailangang magmano, bakit meron tayong mga bayani at marami pa pong iba. So we are trying to bring consciousness and awareness to the rest of the millennials, to the youth, and to those that have not been able to be in the Philippines for the longest time or even those that have been born here. So sana po makatulong po kami sa pagpapatuloy ng ating kultura.
Another part of the event is the budol fight. A budol fight is a Filipino tradition that dispenses the use of cutlery and instead practice kamayan or eating with hands. They shared rice, adobo, chicken, egg, and lechon that is placed on top of a long banana leaf. We've asked Ray Ginsetao, a volunteer from Calgary, on what he can say about this event.
Ang Philippine Heritage Month po, inaprubahan at ipinroklama last year. Ito po ay isang pagdiriwang ng ating pagbibigay pugay sa ating mga kababayan na tayo nagkakaisa, na binigyan ng kahalagahan yung ating pagkakaisa bilang isang lahi. Napakahalaga po nito dahil isang pagpapakita ng bayanihan, pagsulong tungo doon sa kalayaan na tunay nating minimiti. Kalayaang mabuhay ng sagana, kalayaang mabuhay ng payapa, at marami pang iba.
From Banff, Alberta, Canada, I am Gianna Mariano and I am 1 with 25.
Thanks, Gianna. Meanwhile, the Iglesia ni Cristo or Church of Christ has been holding a series of outreach missions across Canada. Let's hear more from Marco Zerudo.
Tonight here in North York, Ontario, Canada, the Church of Christ, along with the Felix Y. Manalo Foundation, continue a series of outreach programs across Canada.
Despite its vibrance and diversity, Toronto has its own issues when it comes to homelessness, poverty, and hunger. According to foodbankscanada.ca, Canadians visited food banks 1.1 million times in March 2018, and that 35% of those relying on food banks are children. Tonight, hundreds of care packages were given to those challenged by poverty and hunger in the city of Toronto.
About 4 days ago, me being part of the Christian Family Organization, I was given a call from the district office to put together this Aid for Humanity. My efforts were just a small piece of what was happening. My efforts involved volunteering time, volunteering efforts to do purchasing of products, to do the actual packaging of the products, to assemble brethren and workers to help in the packaging of the products, and finally the transportation. It took a lot of time, it took a lot of effort. We worked way into the morning hours, making sure that we got 1,000 packages assembled, put together, so that we could hand them out to the less fortunate in our community. Once again, This is just the magnificence and the beauty of the Felix Y. Manalo Foundation.
I was just so happy when I was informed that we will have our Aid for Humanity again for the District of Greater Toronto, and I was glad that I am a member of this food committee in Greater Toronto District. Brethren, they got all excited, and also, of course, us, because this is our role, serving the food to the brethren. And every time we do this, we do it all our heart, because it is our holy duty. We were serving with all smile with the guests, of course, and we thank all our guests who came to the event. Although that it was very far, the donations were distributed to the recipients, like the guests, and some agencies, which one, like their shelters, we distributed them to the people who are needy here in Greater Toronto.
Now, there might not be an overnight answer when it comes to solving poverty and hunger, but as citizens and members of the community, each of us can help in finding a solution. Live from Toronto, Canada, this is Marco Zerudo for EBC News.
The Canadian Elite Basketball League kicks off its inaugural season with a game between the Guelph Nighthawks and Fraser Valley Bandits. Take a look.
The Fraser Valley Bandits welcomed the Guelph Nighthawks in the inaugural start of the Canadian Elite Basketball League. The home team fell 106-103 to Nighthawks in a game that went down to the wire. The game was close-knit, making it exciting for fans to cheer on the Bandits, with the team up a bucket 77-75 entering the fourth quarter. But the Nighthawks rallied to win and stifled the Bandits with their suffocating defense.
I thought we got away from things we've done in practice offensively. Just a very new group, our first game. The ball didn't move as much as we'd like it to move. We weren't running our actions, and it became a bit of just a one man trying to find a solution. So yeah, just a bit of a one man trying to find a solution. We gotta get some more practice time under our belts with this group and find a way to play together.
Despite the loss, the Bandits' home crowd was ecstatic and had an impressive attendance of 3,000 fans during opening night.
This arena was fantastic. Usually in Europe, we played in like high school level gyms out here, right? And so definitely this facility was a leg up on European, at least the league that I was playing in, right? But I think at the end there, especially when the crowd kind of got into the game a little bit more, when it wasn't so back and forth, such a quick-paced game, I think at the end there we could really see what potential what this city has and what Canada basketball has, what this league has. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think it was really great to see.
This is Anthony Sevilla for EBC Sports International, always one with 25.
Coming up, comic fans dress up at the Calgary Expo. Eagle News Canada will return shortly. This is Eagle News. I am Cara Cabusao. Comic fans take advantage of the Calgary Comic and Entertainment at the Calgary Expo to dress up as their favorite character. Kat Joyle with the details.
Hello everyone, Kat Joy here. We are here at the Calgary Comic and Entertainment Expo, aka Calgary Expo. What started as a small group of people deciding to create a fun-filled, family-friendly event with only 3,000 attendees has now grown into an anticipated event attended by no less than 100,000, making it the largest pop culture convention in Western Canada. Cosplay is known worldwide as a popular hobby for people of all ages.
I'm cosplay as Spawn, created by Todd McFarlane from IDW Comics. This was about a year in the making, almost, yeah. So, because it is a hobby, you do it when you can, right? So sometimes you get a lot done, other times you take breaks.
Cosplay often occurs at events and conventions geared towards comics, games, sci-fi, and anime. Most cosplayers create their own costumes by sewing materials, crafting armors, and props. However, some simply buy costumes from popular shops online. Meet artists and enjoy artworks.
I grew up drawing all the time, and out of high school I was trained as a graphic designer for college. And I was working as a designer, but I was always doing illustration on the side. And eventually the design training and the illustration kind of combined, and it gave me this unique style I call shattered vector painting. And so I'm still using graphic design skills and programs for my illustration, which gives it a bit of a different look.
Be entertained by cosplayers. But one thing is common among cosplayers. They're here to have fun.
How long did it take you to make all of this? This is about a year in the making. What is the one tip you'd like to recommend for first-time cosplayers out there? Get out there and start. You're not gonna build your dream costume unless you try. Reporting from the Calgary Expo for Eagle News, I'm Kat Joy, 1 with 25.
Thanks, Kat. That is this week's Eagle News from Canada. Join us next week for stories that matter to you. Visit our websites at eaglenews.net and eaglenewslive.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/eaglenewsph and on facebook.com/eaglenewsph. Thank you for watching. I am Kara Kabusao. I am 1 with 25.